Good morning. It is Monday, March the 25th, and this is The Drill. Thank you very much, and welcome to The Drill. This is Ron, your host, the only true conservative in the United States of America today, because I'm the only one that makes the presumption for the status quo. Speaking to all the butchers, bakers, and candlestick makers, I am a former lefty, and I grew up in a socialist household, but I have come to know better. Let's put it that way. I was going to say see the light, but I like know better. I was just listening to Glenn Beck's show, and one of his people, Jeffy or whatever their name is, came up with a brilliant statement that because the report from Robert Mueller is out. It was released by the Attorney General yesterday, and it exonerates, for all intents and purposes, the President of the United States. Basically says he's not guilty. There's no evidence that he committed any type of a crime, that he colluded, that he did anything wrong. So, this individual on Glenn Beck's show said that he was never getting caught up in the day-to-day machinations of what was going on vis-a-vis the investigation. Because the news departments, CNN, ABC, NBC, CBS, would all, every day, breathlessly reporting what's going to happen, or speculating on what might happen, and whether or not there's going to be any evidence of this, that, or the other thing. And what does it mean when somebody gets indicted, etc. And this guy on Glenn Beck's show was saying he didn't get caught up in all that. His attitude was, forget about it, I'm not going to listen to it, I'm going to wait until the report comes out, and then I will judge. Absolutely correct. Right on the button. Most of the time, the people, these ersatz conservatives like Glenn Beck, who are really nothing more than reactionaries, every once in a while they get it right. They hit the nail right on the head, right on the button. And this is one of those cases. It's called, it's what I've talked about for a long time. It's called arbitrary claims. Throughout this whole process, the media or the news departments, CNN, ABC, CBS, NBC, have all been making various arbitrary claims. An arbitrary claim is a claim that has no proof, no evidence to support it. Just somebody pulls something out of thin air. So there's been a lot of smack and people talking a lot of junk. And again, First Amendment. Everybody has the right to speak, but that doesn't mean that I have to listen to it or take it seriously. And this guy on the Glenn Beck show recognizes that and said as much. Forget all that BS, because it's just that. He recognizes, whether he says so explicitly or not, the difference between arbitrary claims and real claims. When the Mueller comes out with a report and he says, we've done an investigation, an exhaustive investigation, and we can find no evidence to support any claim of collusion or any type of coordination between the president or the president's campaign and Russia, that is a solid claim. They've done the investigation ostensibly. They've put in, they've listed what they did in terms of their investigation, who they interviewed, what documents that they looked at or researched, etc. So now you have something that you can, so to speak, hang your hat on. You have something in which you can respond to. Otherwise, you're just reacting. Okay, if somebody just comes out and says, well, Donald Trump is obviously guilty of colluding with the Russians without any evidence, and then what they're baiting you into doing is reacting, trying to defend the president from nothing, and in so doing, make the president and yourself look bad. So, but again, Glenn Beck got it right this time. Most of the time, he's kind of out in left field, being a reactionary, reacting to what it is that the left is doing, and damaging his own reputation and the reputation of his listeners in the process. But this time, he gets it absolutely right. Good for Glenn Beck. I'm also, the other thing I want to look at is here, and I'm willing to speculate that most of the pundits are going to be spending their time not on the report, and that the fact that the report says that there's no evidence to support, and celebrating that fact. Okay, in other words, Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity will not celebrate this report as they should. They should celebrate it. Matter of fact, the whole country should, as somebody said on Twitter yesterday. And it's very telling that the Democrats are still upset because their hatred for Donald Trump, President Trump, is greater than their love for their country. Because any red-blooded American, anybody that loves this country, should be relieved and celebrating that the accusations, arbitrary accusations, though they may be, the accusations that our system is somehow corrupt, and that the way to win is to cheat in various ways, shapes, or form, is unfounded, and that our system is solid, it has integrity and credibility. We should be celebrating that fact. And I'm sure Sean Hannity and Rush Limbaugh will spend more time on analyzing what it is that the left is saying about this report, how the left is responding or reacting to the report. They shouldn't do that. What they should do is celebrate. Again, you get a victory, celebrate, celebrate, celebrate. This is a perfect time to nah. I told you so. I think this is an absolutely outstanding time. If you're a person that is surrounded by lefties at work or other places in your life, this is a perfect time to go to them and say, ha ha, I told you so. Celebrate. Make that victory real psychologically. Drive it home. We won, you lost, ha ha ha. Too many times Republicans allow the Democrats to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. Okay, because Democrats will come out and try to shape this victory so that the Republicans end up not celebrating, but end up worrying about what it is the left is going to say or do about this report. Forget about it. All you have to do is say, ha ha ha. I was right. You were wrong. The president is exonerated. Tough toenails. And if you don't like that, win an election. That's another good response. And Liz Wheeler is another thing that I wanted to talk about this morning. I was listening to Liz Wheeler about the five things the media didn't tell you but should have. And again, first of all, the first problem with it, her little segment here, it's called The Final Point, is the fact that it's reactionary. Again, it's dealing with not what's important. She didn't come out and say, here's 5 things that happened last week that are absolutely important that you probably didn't know about. That's good. That's conservative. No. Instead, she reacts. Here's things that the left wing, she calls mainstream, but mainstream and left wing are pretty much interchangeable these days. The left wing news media didn't tell you. Okay, and they should have. So it immediately puts her and pretty much every other conservative in the country, or so-called conservative, on the defensive. So instead of promoting values, again, we're reacting to what it is the left is doing or failing to do. And so also Liz Wheeler is in the habit of using what a lot of reactionaries the reactionaries are using, and that is mainstream media. Mainstream media is a problem because, first of all, it's vague. Who's the mainstream media? MSNBC, CNBC, CNN, who is it? Nobody ever says. My guess is that that's exactly who they're talking about. ABC, NBC, CBS, the New York Times, the Washington Post, etc. And that those are the ones they call the mainstream media, and that's the left wing, also referred to as the left wing media. And that brings me to the second problem part of this, is not only is it vague, but why would you concede that there is a mainstream media and that you're not part of it? Because that's what she's indicating here. The mainstream media is not telling you about XYZ, but I will tell you about it. So if you're not mainstream, what are you? Extremist. You're on the fringe. That's what you are. You're a fringe person. And the problem with being on the fringe is, who wants to listen? Who wants to get their information from somebody that's on the fringe? So a lot of weird people out on the fringe. The Ku Klux Klan, the American Nazi Party, to name but two. Why would you want to put yourself in their company? It's long past time for conservatives to recognize that the news departments, all of them, have forfeited their integrity, they have forfeited their credibility, and they have forfeited, therefore, any definition of, or any claim to being mainstream. And it is further time for conservatives, reactionaries, to go ahead and take or I should put it to you this way. If you're truly conservative, then what you should do is claim to be the mainstream media. Rush Limbaugh should say, CBS, NBC, CNN, etc. have forfeited their integrity and their credibility. Therefore, they are no longer mainstream. They are the fringe. They are the kooks. And it really isn't, it's the truth. It's the absolute truth. Look at the crap that they're printing and perpetrating on the American people, and tell me that they're not fringe. So quit referring to them as mainstream. They're not. Rush Limbaugh should then, if he wants to be a true conservative, say, I am mainstream media. Sean Hannity is mainstream media, etc., etc. You know, all the people that are on the right, that are conservative, they're now mainstream media, because the left dominates what used to be considered mainstream media, and because they do, the CBS, NBC, Washington Post, New York Times have forfeited any claim to being mainstream. That's a mistake. Again, never concede the point with the left. Because once you conceded the fact that you're not mainstream, then the question is, why should anyone listen to you? Why should anyone take you seriously? And the answer to that is, no one should. Don't be like that. Okay? Be smart. Be a true conservative and claim the mainstream, because the left has abandoned it. The New York Times, Washington Post have abandoned their positions. It is time for true conservatives to take up those positions. Think about it. That brings us to the conclusion of another episode of The Drill, and until next time, thank you very much for listening, and have a great day.